guys, welcome to LittleBigPodcast, episode 70. This week we have some nice interviews with Media Molecule, thanks to Spaff, and they're actually with Alex, so those are really interesting.
And so there's loads of great stuff that gets revealed. All of our questions about all this crazy stuff gets answered blatantly, and so now we know.
Blatantly.
Now we know that everything that we asked about that we saw in the trailer, we have answers for. So, here is our uncut. Well, sort of uncut. Anyway, here's our interview with Alex Evans from Media Molecule.
Hello world. My favourite part of LBP2 is the new sprite lights, the way all the sprite lights, which is our internal name for the lights that you can put down with Poppet. The way they look and the way they cast shadows and foggy volume, awesome. And that and the top down. Lots of people building levels internally which are like top-down view, which is cool. There's some good games coming out. There you go. I've got an itchy nose. You can fit much more on, so Dave at the moment actually is working days and nights to make the electronics, as we call it, much more less thermometer using. And then the other big thing is that the thermometer used to have basically internally about 20 baby thermometers, and you'd have one for switches and one for shapes and one for physics complexity and one for whatever, stickers. And when one of them hit the limit, that was it. You always saw the worst case out of those 20 baby thermometers. What Chris has done now is he's basically got an overall budget, and you can spend that all on switches, or you can spend it all on shapes, or you can spend it all on stickers, and it kind of balances the budget for you much better. So although we've still got the same PS3 that we always had, and we've still got the same amount of memory on the PS3 that we've always had, we've been able to squeeze much more out, especially if your level just uses Sackbots. Then you can have loads of them, but it just means you have to do less of other stuff. But it's cool for those levels that don't need Sackbots, because then they can go to town on something else, like direct control or switches or electronics. So yeah, you can basically spend your budget much more evenly in LBP2. Yes, it is real. There are a number of objects that we originally created as part of the electronics kit for direct control, and they do things like allowing you to, because a lot of people talk about direct control, and when they first imagine it, as I did, I imagined being able to wire a 6-axis controller up to anything in the world, and I thought about the 6-axis bit, which is all true. But what's cool is, what do you then wire it to? Well, you can wire it to anything like you can in LBP1, sounds and motors and joints and things. But we've created new objects called movers that can do things like move objects to particular locations, follow things, and change layer. And in fact, when you're building top-down type levels, it makes very good use of the movers, because you can attach a mover to a car, or you can make a mover that changes layers. So yeah, the layers become your height in a top-down view, so it's very important to be able to move between layers. I don't think you can import them. Never say never, but I'm pretty sure at the moment what we do is we compress the voice down so that the download size for your level won't be massive, even if there's loads of voice in it. And I think that compression code is currently linked into how we do the recording of the PSI or the mic input. So for now, I think it's you have to record your own. Well, how will Little Big Planet enhance the internet? By making the internet more awesome with all of your creations. But as you may know, we're making a website called LBP.me, which is like a super short little URL you can type in. And if you have a PSN ID, like Bob, then if you go to lbp.me/Bob, then you see your profile page. And the coolest part is you can send that to your friends, even if they don't own the game, or even if they don't have a PSN account. So anyone on the internet can go and check out your creations, your profile page, and under that profile page you get links to all of your levels, which you can also send around. So you could send an email, or on a forum you could say, check out my level, lbp.me/ and then you get this magical code when you publish, which shows you what your level is. And that is a way of like allowing creators to get a chance to show off their stuff. And for people who make podcasts or fan sites or who have great taste in levels, they can compile compendiums of their favourite levels and just put all of the links. And because you can click on that website, you can add it to a queue, we call it. So we can add it to your queue of levels, and the next time you boot up the PS3, there they all are ready to play. And actually there's loads more features as well, like QR codes, which are basically little barcodes that you may have seen around, and if you photograph them with your web browser, with your phone, you may find if you have a compatible phone that they automatically take you to that website. But what's even cooler is if you make a QR code, which you can do on the web using lots of tools, including one made by Google, if you make a QR code out of your LBPMe website, the game will recognise it, and just holding it up to the game, to your PSI, the game will just flick straight to that level or that player. So it's a really quick way of, maybe you could get business cards printed, or maybe you could print out a sheet of QR codes of your favourite levels and hand them out to friends, stuff like that. So that's cool. I think the last thing I haven't even mentioned is our ultimate dream for improving the internet via Little Big Planet is we're going to sort of release more and more features, but we want to give, if you like, little badges and things that you can put on your blog or on your website or on your fan site to allow you to sort of embed bits of photos from your levels, or maybe a high score table, or maybe a player profile. So we've got a bunch of ideas of ways that Little Big Planet can kind of easily work its way onto the internet, and that anyone with a website of any kind will find it as easy as embedding a YouTube video. You'll be able to embed a stream of photos, for example. So Sackboy is getting some new abilities, and there are at least 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. We've already announced the grappling hook, and frustratingly for you, we're not announcing the other 2, and it's not just because we're mean, heartless, horrible people. It's because we're still polishing them and tweaking them and making sure that they are completely awesome before we talk about them. Because we don't want to talk about the details and then find out that actually it wasn't quite right. But we know that we've already used 3 new power-ups, and they are very, very cool. And the grapple hook, my favourite thing about the grapple hook, and actually it's a general thing in the new game, is it feels really agile. Same with the bounce pads that we've put in. Sackboy does this really acrobatic little twirl, and you just feel like you're the best player in the world, even if, like me, you're not very good at playing Little Big Planet. The grapple hook makes you feel very cool when you're running around in your Sackboy. And the costumes, well, obviously we're doing tons of new costumes that you collect as you play through the story. And what I love about the new costumes, being an engine geek that I am, is that the new engine allows you to do transparency and animated textures. And those 2 features, for any of you who've ever sort of thought about what possible costumes you could make, just those 2 features have led to a whole load of new kinds of costumes, just having really nice glassy effects, furry effects, hairy effects, and even moving skins. You may have, if you've looked in the trailer really closely, seen a kind of bubbling Sackboy. It's pretty cool. So some new costumes coming, and they're some of the best exploitations of the new engine, so it's going to be cool.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that interview. Hope that got you a little more excited for Little Big Planet 2. Now, before we let you go, we have a few news articles that we have for you. Anyway. So,
news.
yeah. Little Big Store Mod Nation Racers costume and sticker set is now out in the US and Asia and Japan. But it will be out in Europe on Thursday because some kind of backwards... You know what it is? It's compensating because they got Mod Nation a week before we did.
That's exactly what
So you guys get the DLC a week later than we did.
Right.
So anyway, you can go pick that up on the PlayStation Store. I believe it's either $1.99 or $2.99. I don't know.
I think it's $1.99.
I think it's $1.99.
Costume and stickers.
30 stickers-ish or something like that. Anyway, go up there and download it. It's very cool stuff. Also, be sure to check out that game if you're interested in the Play, Create, Share genre. Also, if you're interested in podcast type stuff, we also have Mod Nation podcasts going on right now. So if you want to keep up to date with Mod Nation as well, you can head on over to modnationpodcast.com. And there we are again.
Cool stuff.
Alright, so thanks for joining us this week, unless you had anything else to say.
Well, I was just going to comment on that and say that with Mod Nation Racers, there is a lot of cool stuff that you can do. Not only creating tracks, but also carts, mods,
Right.
stuff like that. and the things that you'll see people do up there will just blow you away.
Right.
So they give you all the
even
tools.
just check out the show if you're not quite convinced on the game yet, and you'll see some pretty cool stuff.
Right. So I guess that's it.
I guess that's it.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. That's too scary. Cat thing says goodbye. Goodbye, Toro.